Finally, it feels so good to win a game again. Morecambe came to Stamford Bridge, but there was only one team that was able to finish and left happy and satisfied. All right, everyone. Welcome back to American Blues Podcast. Let's talk about Chelsea, Morecambe, 5-0. I thought this was a great performance. You know, we started a pretty strong team. A lot of the players that I wanted to see, including Reece James, Romeo Lavia, so good to see them back. They each played the first half. Really good for them to be back on the pitch, show their stuff. I thought this was also a really important game for someone, especially like João FELIX, who has not been getting game time. A lot of people have been asking for him, and I felt like, his biggest issue is really his finishing. But today, man, he was able to finish. And TOSIN, my goodness, I didn't even know that you had a long-range strike in you. So overall, fantastic game. Look, this was easy win. Morecambe basically defended all 11 men behind the 30-line yard for the majority of the game. Yes, they had their chances. Yes, especially at the end of the game, they had two very good chances they probably should have gotten something from. But, we held out. We got our clean sheet. We completely dominated, which is honestly the only outcome from this game that was acceptable. Morecambe are League 2, bottom of that league, about to be relegated if they stay down there this season, which would make them drop out of the professional pyramid in England. So this is like the gulf in class and the amount of money that the club can spend on player wages is just incredible. You're going from almost the top of the English Premier League pyramid down to the very, very bottom. So yeah. But you know what? We still have to beat the team in front of us, and we still have to beat them in a really convincing way. And that's exactly what we did. I thought first half, I just thought it was a really good chance for Reece James and Lavia to work on their fitness, get back into game speed. And really, it looked like those two have never left. Reece James still ridiculously good with his crossing. I can tell Maresca is really limiting his role. They don't really want him to sprint all that much, but still, he can put in some crosses like nobody else can. And if we could only finish a little bit better, I think he would have gotten at least 1 or 2 assists, especially by Disasi, who headed it straight over the bar within the first few minutes of the game. And then, TOSIN hit the post. João FELIX had a really good turn and quick shot into the bottom left corner that, to be fair, the Morecambe goalie did a really good job today saving what he was expected to save. And then we even had a handball shout that was, well-deserved penalty. And then unfortunately, Nkuku missed. Although I did think the goalie came off his line. It looked like both feet pretty much left his line, but you know what? No big deal. We still got a pretty lucky goal in the first half. TOSIN, long range shot, got a wicked deflection. Absolutely nothing that goalie could do, but I think it was well deserved with how much we were dominating that game. And then the rest of the half just kind of did its thing, petered out. Another thing that I wanted to mention this game was Tyreek George started on the left side. I thought he was really lively. You can see this player has a lot of talent. He has so much talent when it comes to one-on-one. But after that, he needs work. He's getting in the right positions. He's making the right runs. He's aggressive. I like that he's willing to take on players one-on-one, sometimes even 1v2, 1v3. He's got no fear. That's great. But with age comes experience and knowing when to pull that trigger to go one-on-one and when to drop back, rely on your team, because you can't just win a team or win a game by yourself from the wing, beating everybody. That's just not really realistic. And then, of course, once he does beat that player, he still needs to make the correct cross or pass. And those are the things that he needs to work on. So I think next season, Tyreek George, it would be fantastic if he could get a loan, probably a good side in the championship. I think that's a good place for him to start. Less pressure, really good platform for him to work on his skills, kind of like how Hutchinson did last season. And then maybe another year after that, alone in Premier League. And I think he'll be able to really, really grow as a player. I do think it's a little bit too young for him to be our backup left wing in the Premier League. He's just not at that level yet. And I would hate to place that pressure on him because it's unrealistic. And it would be incredibly unfair to place that on him. Now, on the other side, Pedro Neto ran his ass off the first half, but very little end product. It's okay. It's still against Morecambe. I did expect a little bit better from him. It just seems like Pedro Neto, what he's good at is he has a tremendous amount of energy. He's always willing to take his man. But again, once he takes his man on, a lot of times he either doesn't succeed, or if he does succeed, that cross just isn't there, or we're just unable to finish from his crossing, which I actually think his crossing is one of the better ones on the team. And sometimes even the best. It's just, if we had that like instinctive target striker, I think Neto would have a lot more assists this season. And then João Felix doing João Felix things, taking the ball, really technical, able to spray passes left and right. And I think the one thing that I liked about him is that he's just so technically gifted, right? Like he's really just in terms of pure talent, he's one of the best players there is in terms of talent. It's just more in terms of execution and then finishing in the box that's always let him down. And I thought first half today, he did show, flashes of really good play, but again, that finish wasn't there. But then second half, he really turned it on, got a good first goal, but really that second goal on the left side of the box where he faked out that player, cut it back onto his right foot, and then just curled it into the corner. Amazing. I actually think based off his performance today, he certainly deserves a run in the Premier League. And I think he should be coming on for Enzo. There are games where Enzo's a little bit more quiet. And if João Felix is on that left 8 space and Cole Palmer is on that right 8 space, then they can really cover each other's weaknesses. Cole Palmer is really left-footed. So on the left-hand side, he doesn't shoot as well. Like he's not going to be the one who does what João Felix did today. He's not going to cut back onto his right foot and then curl it. And that's not his play style. And I don't really ever see that coming from him. But if Palmer's on the right and then João Felix on his left, then we have two really potent weapons. And then, of course, then you can't really just worry about marking Palmer out of the game because we have another player that's similar to him that can really create, that can really show up in the pocket, that's also technically gifted. So I do think he really, really deserves that run. Clearly he's not Maresca's top pick. Clearly, it seems like he wasn't really even wanted at the club by Maresca, but the sporting directors saw a good deal and convinced him to take it. So, yeah, hopefully we can make the best of the situation. João Felix is too talented to be sitting on the bench and only be playing in like FA Cup games and Conference League, right? I agree. He's probably not there yet to be starting consistently game after game in the Premier League or in our most important games, but I think he's shown enough. He's definitely shown enough that he deserves more game time in Premier Leagues, right? He deserves more than the last few minutes or even just sitting on the bench and not coming on at all. And then came halftime, some big changes. Of course, Reece James, Romeo Lavia, I think they were just planned that they were only going to play 45 minutes. So Cucurella came on, Malagusto came on, and then Jadon Sancho came on for Pedro Neto. And I thought Jadon Sancho this game really showed just how, again, like João Felix, just how technically gifted he is. Like the ball is absolutely glued to his feet. It doesn't matter if he's walking with the ball, if he's sprinting with the ball, if he's taking that first touch, like that ball does not leave his foot. And I think that's a big lesson that a lot of our younger players and the other players, especially someone like Jackson, can really learn from Sancho, which is just caring for the ball. Like if you have the ball, don't be wasteful with it, but especially don't lose possession. Like Jadon Sancho just does not lose possession. And it opens up so many options in terms of being able to attack a defender. Defender knows that they can't just step in on him because he'll just go around them. It becomes really, really hard to defend him because you don't really know, should I be far, let him dribble? Should I be close, try to stop him from dribbling? Because either way, he knows how to wiggle out of that situation. And I thought Jadon Sancho did a really, really good job today. So good on him. And then, of course, TOSIN, second half, pulled out. Yeah, I had no idea he had that curler in him. He was probably like 20 yards out on the kind of left side of the box, looked up at goal and just curled a perfect finish into the side netting to the left side. Absolutely nothing the goalie could do. Amazing finish. Good for him. If you could start doing that in Premier League games, bud, please do so. Because honestly, against these like super low block teams, having that long range threat opens up so many opportunities. Like I think with City, that's what they're really missing with Rodri. Besides his like defensive abilities, his ability to sweep up counterattacks, it's that he's always there for a long range shot, running into the box, being outside the box. And during games when you're, tied, when the opposition just wants to defend and defend and defend, and they're really hard to break down, having that long range option, it's incredible. Obviously, it's hard to say that TOSIN can do that consistently since this is really the first game that he's shown that. But again, if you have that in you and you can take that chance in the Premier League games that you're in, by all means, please do it. Overall, I thought this was a very, very solid, very professional performance. And then I love the FA Cup. The Carabao Cup, I think it's the least important competition out of everything that you could play for in a year, but I love the FA Cup. We used to win the FA Cup again and again and again. We used to show up in the finals. Drogba would always show up in the finals, FA Cup, get a goal. So the FA Cup means a lot to me. And the fact that we've lost so many finals and semifinals over the last few years, it's been a real big kick in the nuts in terms of watching these games. So I hope this year, clearly Maresca is taking the FA Cup seriously, as I think he should, because we really just have Premier League, FA Cup, and Conference League left. Conference League is kind of whatever. Premier League, we obviously need to do better and still really get into the top four. But FA Cup, in terms of winning a trophy, winning one of these would be amazing. Amazing. It wouldn't replace being in top four in Premier League. That's for sure. You can kind of tell that from, Arsenal and Man U. Just winning FA Cup, but then doing terribly in the league like Man U have this season is meaningless. But I would say with how our team is currently looking, I think being in top four and then finishing this season with the trophy will do tremendous wonders in terms of confidence for these young players, and then giving them that obsession with winning, right? You have to win at least once to understand what that feels like, to understand the commitment it takes, and then to want it again and again and again. And we desperately need that kind of win for this young team. So all we can do is keep taking every single game in the FA Cup seriously. Yeah, so I can't wait for the next one. But next one, big game, Premier League, Bournemouth Tuesday. They are in really good form. They've been really tough for everybody to play against. They defend really well. They attack really well. This is a no joke team. So I think it's definitely time for us to get back on the winning track in the Premier League, because again, we've started to run out of all these really easy games that we were supposed to win. And I think we're winless in 5 now in the Premier League. So it would be really, really, really nice and imperative for us to get back on the winning track. Otherwise, we are really going to start running out of options in terms of getting back into top 4. We do not need that pressure. So can't wait until the next game. See you guys after that one. Peace.